Hello everyone, going to do a first impressions video of the new Milo action sports communication device. We got it a few weeks ago, just been really busy so I hadn't had a chance to get out on the water and give them a go and didn't want to rush it. We got 8 of these. Unfortunately one of them actually melted charging it, so I've sent that back. They were very quick to get back to me on that, I can imagine so, because I'm sure that's a bit of an issue with that happening. Basically the actual device didn't melt, but the cable for charging and this hole all melted. I'll pop up a photo of that, but they got back to me super fast and have already in process of replacing it, so pleased with that, but just obviously a bit of a risk. I charged them all with the same charger, so I think it's more of a faulty device rather than a faulty charger. So besides that though, the box opening experience was good. It comes in a nice package, lots of sort of little bits and pieces came with it. What did it come with? It came with the charging cable, 2 lanyards, a short one and a long one. I've got the long one on at the moment. A couple of extra rubbers or longer rubbers for this sort of proprietary clip device thing that it comes with, which we'll go on to in a little bit in a minute. But yeah, so far pretty impressed with the build. Comes with some little rubber plugs that go in here for use in salt water, so we'll put those in when we get in the water today. But basically just going to get out in the water and have a go and see what we think. These are now running the latest firmware as well, the 5.0.1 firmware. I updated these last night. The Android app is now out, so you can update them over Android.
Right, so our first test, or our main concern, is this mount. If you turn it just a few degrees to the left or right, it comes off very easy. Sure, when it's in its default position it's super strong, but any slight turn and it comes off. It would be nice to see a feature that actually locks it in, where you'd need to press a button or something to remove it. So our first test, we're gonna try it in its generic position, making sure that it's leashed, and see if it does get knocked off during a session.
Doing thick maneuvers.
Yeah.
Just a bit of a beach test from the Pro Centre here at Tribe at Garoda, and bully out on the water on that reed-in kite, which is that one there. It looks a bit small in the video, but I think we're nice and clear. Yeah, you can hear what I'm saying?
Yeah,
yeah, super clear. I can hear you too, and there's no wind noise or anything. It's really quite clear. Go on, do something then. All right, cool, sweet. All right, well I'm going to come and join you in the water. Let's see how that goes. Okay, here we go then. So just hitting the water now, done a bit of a beach test and now doing a water-based test. Had a little bit of bugging out there just on the beach. I mean, I was closer to bully than I was when I was standing at the centre, so not sure what that was about. Okay, I'm out of reach and now I'm not massively impressed with the range, to be honest. I mean, at the moment we keep going in and out of range and I'm not crazy far from him, so let's see. I'm also wearing my Bluetooth headphones, which I've just turned off because I'm not sure if they were interfering with the network or something, so maybe that's having a problem, so we'll see if that changes when I cut back in now.
Okay, so I'm out of range at the moment. I've got the Milo kind of on my shoulder, so it's quite high. Ben is, where is Ben? He's quite far away. I would say he's about 500 meters away. We've not reconnected yet. I'm going to turn the camera around and put it next to my shoulder, so you should hear when he reconnects. And he's on the blue and grey slingshot in the distance. There he is. Hopefully he will connect.
Connected, yeah.
There you go. You heard that. We connected then. There you go. So basically, when you lose connection, you have to ride quite close to each other for it to reconnect.
What is good is that when you do reconnect, it tells you. So you're not having to like ask fully, are you there all the time? And there's no pressing buttons, it does do it automatically. So that is a nice feature. But although and it tells you when you've disconnected, it tells you when you've gone out of range, and then it tells you again when you're back in range with each other. So that is nice. I do like that feature. Alright, so I've just taken a fairly big spill on a failed blind judge, and it stayed on. So first spell was a pretty average, not average, it was me trying to drive my arm into the water on purpose to see if it would hold, and it came straight off. But on an actually legit, like proper, actually trying to do a trick, it stayed on. So, I mean, I guess with something that doesn't fasten completely, you're always running the risk of a little bit of the option it's going to come off. But my eyeballs are full of water, so I wouldn't say it was the smallest crash in the world, and it stayed on. Okay, so just back in from a session with the Milos. Wind was probably about 15 knots, I guess. Around that. So you know, decent wind. Just a few points and things that we noticed on our first session. So I think, sort of full disclosure, first time they've been used, so maybe the battery life isn't as good as possibly after a few charges. We got about 30% battery wear on the hour and 15 minutes of riding. About 30%. So battery was okay at best, but that could improve after a few charges. I guess first thing to talk about is range. So we first started off, Bully was out on the water. I was actually just faffing around on land, up at the top of the hill where the centre is. And the range was pretty good. Like, we could hear each other like proper clear as day. Probably best case like 500 meters from where I was out on the sandbar. And then I got onto the water, and actually once I was like at water level, at the same level as Bully, I would say best case is probably more of an average of 350 meters. I wouldn't say it was any more than that. What was nice is that when you went out of range, it told you straight away. You know, like you always knew all the time what the status of the situation was. It wasn't that like, you know, waving each other, going, "Are you connected? Are you not connected?" and trying to like, "Bully, can you hear me?" Because it tells you. Yeah, the Bluetooth technology was actually pretty good. I like the way it reconnected automatically. Yeah. I mean, you could leave it and wonder whether it was going to reconnect, and it always would. But I guess you had to be within, what, 200 meters? Yeah, even less, I would say. Like that. So that's, I guess, with our first sort of negative point, really. We got some footage that would demonstrate that. Yeah, that you'll be able to see. But basically, when you disconnect, so be it if you fell in the water and got submerged, that kills off Bluetooth, or if you rode too far away from each other, you needed to be within about 50 meters of each other for it to reconnect again. So it wasn't like if like Bully was ahead of me and sped up a bit and I caught up with him, it would connect straight away. I actually had to be really quite close to him for the two Milos to reconnect with each other. But it did do that. But it did connect, which and it was kind of cool. And quite often Bluetooth stuff can be a little bit of a pain. Actually, that's true. It connects every single time without doubt when we were close to each other, and no pressing buttons. And slight disclaimer: we were both using. I was definitely using a Bluetooth headphones with a Bluetooth watch. So I had these. I was using these. Bluetooth doesn't normally like other Bluetooth devices about, and actually, it did a pretty good job. Yeah, I do feel that these might have interfered with it, because when we were out by Whale Rock, it's a rock out at the sea, we were kiting out there. I turned these back on again, because when I turned them on at the beginning of the session, I thought like it was interfering with the reception, and I think actually we're right. Like when I turned these off, it definitely felt like it reconnected and a little bit closer, a little further distance from each other. So maybe too many Bluetooth devices around isn't ideal. So yeah, I would say so. Yeah, best case scenario 500 meters, averaging about 350 meters. But if you disconnect, the reconnect is within 50 meters. Yeah. However, there's only two of us on the water, so we've only got two Milos, and their sort of big selling point is this mesh network. So the way that I understand it is if we had three kiters and Bully was 700 meters away from me and someone was 350 meters away from him, I should still be able to speak to Bully. So I guess the signal bounces off each Milo. It bounces off each Milo, so it does create... So the more Milos on the water, the better range you get. Yeah, but then you're talking serious money, because I mean, that's another point we'll come to later. I mean, just general feel of the product, I mean, it's well made. Yeah, it's solid. It's solid. It's waterproof, right? We don't have to waterproof it. And setting it up and getting ready, and the sound is insane. Was pretty easy to set up. Yeah. So no stress. Buttons super easy to press. And for me, you just handed it to me, and I didn't need to change anything for the whole session. And even in the winter, if you're wearing like big gloves and stuff, these buttons and stuff would be super easy to press. Not that we have to worry about that here. The device itself is really well made and definitely worth the weight on the actual product, because I think a lot of the stuff we're talking about can be fixed over updates. So the actual product, really amazing. And like number one selling point is the clarity of the sound. You can't hear the wind at all, like nothing. I mean, considering you're probably moving at 18, 19, 20 knots maybe today, you couldn't hear any of that background noise at all. It was clear
I
as
can
day.
happily listen to music and hear it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, absolutely. When I did have my headphones on, so that was really, really good. What else? Yeah, so that's it. I mean, good use, tough. Auto connect. It worked. It was simple. Really, really, really easy to use. What was I say? One of the things that was advertised when I bought these was that you would be able to connect a Bluetooth headset to it, and I think that would make it even better.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone listens to music when they're doing these kind of sports, but actually, if it could connect to a headset, then wow, even better. It's would be a really nice feature, particularly for when you're coaching. I think if you're coaching and you've got a decent, headset on, it would make it. I mean, more comfortable.
I don't think you would have the option to be able to listen to music and use this as a headset at the same time. So you're going to be choosing one or the other, aren't you?
Yeah.
But as you say, not many people listen to music.
A great coaching, teaching tool for sure.
Yeah, mega. I mean, yes, it does disconnect with once the thing goes underwater. So I sort of forced a crash and sort of talking about the actual clip itself. So I was wearing this where I did a sort of homemade Velcro band with the clip that comes with the one when you buy it, and I was like bitching about it when we first went out, before we went out on the water, saying there's no chance that's going to stick. When I forced the crash and sort of like threw my arm into the water as I landed, it did come undone straight away. But I actually had like a legit crash trying to a blind judge, and it actually stayed on, and I got eyeball up my water up my nose, and it's been draining for about an hour, and it stayed on fine. So the clip isn't as sketchy as one would think. Definitely need the leash for sure. And what would be, I mean, I think if you're talking at more advanced riders, if people would like learning to do handle passes and stuff like that, and you might be getting leashes wrapped around your arm, that would cause an issue and could cause that to break. So it would be really nice to maybe consider like a floating mount or a floating case for it, like, the GoPro, well, Billy's holding his GoPro there, that GoPro, got that orange thing, like something on it that would float and make it easy to see, because I'm pretty sure this doesn't float. It's definitely not going to float with that on, it's quite heavy.
I mean, do you think it could be mounted up near your cleat and work?
You know what, if you could mount it on your kite bar, that would be the dream.
Yeah, or just slightly above when you're trimming.
Yeah.
Then it's always high. You definitely hear it.
You
from
definitely
there.
Hear it because
it's one of the positives is it is nice and
super loud.
Yeah,
it'd be much better if we could come up with a system to mount it onto the kite. And I think that'd be pretty easy.
And for teaching, you'd have to mount it on a helmet,
on the top of the helmet,
and then you won't get a Bluetooth disconnect.
No. I mean, where I think this would be really, really fun to use if you're doing a downwinder with your mates, where you're not really separating more than 300 meters from each other, especially if you're doing like a foiling downwinder and you're just cruising along like chilled day out. These would be amazing, and I think from a water sports perspective, probably the best water sport for them would be cable or wakeboarding, where you're trying to coach behind a boat. You're within that 50-meter range generally, 90% of the time. You can talk to the client all the time. You can talk to your mates all the time. I think that's really, when it comes to water sports, that's where they're going to stand out.
Kind of any group activity is going to help, isn't it? Even supping, you're taking sup tours, whatever, It's nice. It's good you have an element of safety because you can communicate with people.
100%.
So, yeah, interesting for sure.
I would say I actually came off the water and gave it a 5 out of 10, but now Billy and I have just sat down and like written down some stuff to talk about. I think I give it like a 7.5 out of 10 now.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think to be honest, with a bit more time on the water, with more people spreading out a bit further, increasing that mesh network, I'd really like to test that out with a few more riders.
The old hive thing.
Yeah, and I'll probably do that with my instructors over the next couple of weeks and give that a bash and see how far we can stretch the network. But I think it's is it worth the buy? They're expensive.
They are.
I mean, one is £200. No one's buying one.
No.
Don't used to anyone buying one. So you're looking 400 quid for two. Then your network's limited because you've only got your average of 350 meters. So you've only got so much space that you can use it with. And the accessories are expensive. Like this clip thing that comes with it, this is 18 quid, I think, for a replacement of one of those.
Though you shouldn't lose that often.
No.
In defence, if you've got it on a decent.
Exactly, you've got a decent thing. That said, all it's done is it's pushed me to go and look at alternative methods of mounting it to my body. So I looked at some like running wallets, so it's basically like a little strap that you can put on your arm with a zip, and might put it in that. So yeah, just sort of maybe talking about that a little bit. Bully, I had mine on this sort of homemade Velcro strap. Bully just had his on the lanyard, and it had it tucked into his
I
t-shirt.
just shoved it up here, like that.
So like you could have it tucked into your wetsuit, couldn't you?
And it didn't move.
Yeah, absolutely fine. So
And it was nice, you know.
yeah, but also, I mean, yeah, as you say, it'd be really sick to be able to mount it to the bar. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, or
Unless-
somewhere just
Otherwise, it's going to be a very expensive day out when your kite comes unleashed and you lose your kite, your bar, and your 200
if you
quid
can have
Milo.
it slightly higher than you, then the signal's going to be better
That's true.
as well.
Yeah, that's
isn't
true.
it?
That's true. But yeah, just a definitely expensive day out if you lose your kite, your bar, your Milo. Probably going to have a GoPro up there as well.
Yeah, woo.
Woo. But yeah,
I mean, it's cool tech. for
it's
sure.
really cool tech. It's definitely the best thing that I've used from a radio perspective on the water. It is spenny. We in the school, just so you know, we use a much cheaper system. We buy 20 quid radios, put them in dry packs, and that is, you know, super easy to use. But it's not two-way communication; it's only one way. I definitely like these. I think they're a bit nice to use in the school, though. That gets a bit of an expensive
Well, they're
thing.
just expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing.
For
It's just a
private
bit-
coaching.
But for private coaching, definitely going to be using it behind the ski boat, and definitely using it on downwinders. Like if Sam and I get up and do this downwinder,
yeah, for
it's going to be
sure.
great for that. Interesting to see how the battery life
And
comes
actually, foiling, you're getting even better connection
Yeah,
because
'cause
you're an
you're
extra metre up.
on. Yeah, exactly. And actually, you could always put a bunch on like the rescue boat and the dhow and try and extend them. You know, you could create.
Yeah.
Just because there's two people on the water,
Yeah,
you could actually
yeah.
increase the network by having a couple more
Yeah.
turned on around you, just for the sake of it. Sweet. Anyway, anybody got any questions? Please leave them in the comments below. If we think we've got any facts wrong from what we've said, please remember correct us in the comments below. I will continue to test these. Check out on our Instagram channel, Tribe Watersports. You'll probably find more updates there on our stories rather than reposting videos over and over on YouTube. Yeah, so far I think 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I reckon.
And I think it will improve with updates.
A solid 7.
A solid 7. Yeah, the app's really, really good, and the updates were pretty straightforward. Anyone that's had any experience using GoPro will know what Bluetooth can be a pain in the ass, and it's no different to that experience. You can suss it out and make it work. It's a couple of restarts and resets.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
You're finishing. Does it have GPS?
Nope.
Okay, just wondered.
Be nice though. Very cool. Safety
Just for the
tool.
uploading,
Yeah, exactly.
possibly if you
Yeah.
can do other things. There's a microprocessor in there, isn't
If
there?
it had an activity tracker in there, it'd be pretty awesome. Milo 2.0 coming to a place.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. All right, thanks guys.
Peace.